Hi, beautiful souls. Welcome to today's episodes where we are talking about co-creating with the divine, with spirit, understanding radical responsibility, what we can actually be in control of when it comes to manifestation and what we're not, where the role is with the divine and not. Because one of the things that I get asked so many times is like, well, where does surrender come in? What am I co-creating? And even questions like, do I have a destiny? Is there fate? How much is controllable? So I want to share a little bit from my perspective, from someone who does manifestation work and does believe that it's very important, and also who's someone who is very surrendered and surrendered to the path before me. So the way that I see it, first and foremost, is that we have absolute free will, right? That's the first and foremost thing. You have a soul purpose. You have something that you came here to do, but you have complete free will that you can say, no, I don't want to do it. Don't want to do my soul purpose. I want to go and be a 9-to-5 accountant. Great. You can go do that. You can say, screw my soul purpose. I'm going to go on a backpacking around Europe for the next 5 years. You have free will to do that, right? It is not set in stone. Now, before you incarnated, you made contracts and agreements and asked for help, right? You said, all right, at this specific age, I'm gonna go through this. That's gonna make me realize these things. It's gonna put me on my soul path. I'm gonna be able to shift into this and meet this person. And then I'm gonna have a soul contract with that person. We're gonna have a relationship and it's gonna open up into this. So you set up these different points in your life that different people would come in, that you had soul contracts with, that you would meet, activate that soul contract. And then also at different times in your life, like whenever you spiritually awakened, that's not random. Your soul chose for that to happen at that age, right? There are certain things that are predetermined, if you will. For example, you having your soulmate come in. If you are supposed to meet your soulmate at age 22, they're gonna come in at age 22. Now that being said, you have free will. You get to go, ooh, feeling a soulmate connection with this person. It's all been meant to happen that way. But you can go, nah, don't want you. I'm out of here. You have free will to do that. So just because it's there and it happens, you don't have to do anything with it, right? So that's where there is free will. You're still gonna meet the people you need to, but it's up to you to go, ooh, that feels like there's something here, let me go into it, or nah, I don't want this, right? Now, your spiritual team, their primary focus with you is to support you and to support you in fulfilling what you came here to do. So if you kind of go, screw that, can't be bothered, don't want to do my soul purpose, I'm going to go off, there are probably going to be guides who are going to step away. You're never going to be alone, you're always going to be loved and supported. But when you are in your soul purpose, you are more supported, right? Because of all the contracts that you've made before coming here, so your spirit guides can help you actually fulfill that. So when it comes to creating the life that you want, you have absolute free will to create the life that you want. And whilst there are certain things like your soul purpose expression and things you want to do, things like how much money you want to make or experience, like that's up to you. I've channeled for thousands and thousands of people. Never once have I seen someone be like, oh, they can only make this much money in their soul purpose or their contract, limitations around it. The limitations around abundance are all ours from living in this world that we've taken on. But many times I have connected to people's spirit guides and they're like, she's here to experience abundance, or there's more abundance available, right? So there are ego desires, which are a lot more superficial and come from a different place, right? They don't come from your soul or from your truth, from your authenticity. They come from wanting validation from external sources saying you should be like that, or because you want to make your mom and dad happy, An example is maybe you want to have a 9-to-5 with a secure income because your parents told you that, but that's not your soul desire. What your soul actually desires is for you to travel around the world, be nomadic, help people. That's a soul desire. So for you, it's important to listen to those desires and go, what do I want? What do I really want? What do I want to experience? How do I want to live my life? And the desires that come up, they're there because that's what you're meant to do. That's what you're here to share. Your desires, like I really genuinely believe they're God-given. They're given to you for a reason to guide you and inspire you, right? That's soul desires, not ego desires, right? And there can be overlap and confusion. So if you're not sure, is it an ego desire or soul desire, asking yourself, why do I want that? what is that going to give me? How is that going to support me fulfilling my soul purpose work here? And when I think about everything that I desire, that I've created in my life, even with abundance, it always ties back to, okay, well, I can do my soul purpose. I can fulfill my soul purpose a lot better and impact more people if I'm abundant, right? So if it ties back into that, it's probably not from the ego, it probably is from the soul. So that's kind of how you want to think about it and lean into it. So you have these beautiful desires. And whilst you are being guided, and whilst there are predetermined things that are going to come into your life, which we can call fate, you're going to meet a certain person, have this opportunity. You don't have to say yes to that. You have free will to say no. Now, the reality is, in this realm, you are a creator. You are a creator, and you are co-creating your reality every single day. Say co-creating, you can say manifesting. I like the word co-create because we co-create simply by being. And our nature, our soul's nature, is that of source. We are divine sparks of God, of source, the creator within us, right? Our soul is a small spark of that, and we are creating our reality, being connected to that source energy. Now, we are creators, and even if we don't know that consciously, we're always co-creating, we're always manifesting, no matter if we're doing consciously or not. The majority of people are unconsciously manifesting or co-creating the life that they live today. And that can be one of the hardest things to realize when you go, oh, I'm responsible for the way that my life is right now. And I think this is where people, they do really struggle with that, because the first part of becoming a real conscious co-creator who changes their reality is going, well, the reason my life is the way it is now is because of me, right? A whole sense of radical responsibility. And this is something that I really struggle with. And I've told the story before of how when there was a program that I was studying, and I was in a lot of trauma. I was not well physically. I was having panic attacks, couldn't be around, couldn't be touched by another man because of sexual assault that had significantly negatively impacted me. And when I was studying this modality, the teacher came to me and said, how you feel right now, everything that you're going through, it's your fault. It's your fault for feeling this way. And I didn't take that well, and no surprises there. Could argue it's not very trauma informed, but at the time I struggled to take it, and I went away and I sat and I thought about it, and I was like, he's right. I'm responsible for how I feel right now. Like, the thing happened to me, that's in the past, but I am in charge. I'm in control of the things that I feel and experience right now. And from that realization, I was able to begin healing, manifesting, and moving out of that. And the only reason I was able to shift out of it is because I took full radical responsibility for my life and how I am. And that's what true co-creation requires you to do. True co-creation is actually working with the universal law of correspondence. And there are many universal laws out there, many, many, many. They're in their own energetic realm. I might do another episode just on the universal laws themselves because they're fascinating, but one of them is the law of correspondence, right? And this is the mirror, as within, so without, right? Like, what you see in the world around you is what you are experiencing within you. And this is where radical responsibility comes to play, right? That everything that you see in your external reality is reflecting you. And if I'm honest, I take this really, really far, to the point if people around me are going through something, if my clients are having an issue, I am going, what part of me is reflecting in this? Like, turn on the TV, someone's going through that, what part of me is creating that? So I do take this quite strongly, right? This radical responsibility, because I do believe that we are co-creators, and I'm not going to get into the science of manifestation and everything, but we live in an energetic universe. And our beliefs, programs, feelings, experiences, they're constantly creating the world around us, and they are attracting people on that same level, so we've got the law of attraction, the law of vibration, and we're calling in certain experiences dependent on us. So there is a part of you that is creating that experience. So let's say you have a friend who is going through something, they're having a massive issue. there's a part of you that is co-creating that. There's a part of you that is creating that. So what part of me is creating that? If someone is mistreating you or undervaluing you, what part of myself, where am I mistreating myself? Where am I not valuing myself? What must I believe to be true to be receiving this? So I literally walk through my life. It's like, if I experience something, what part of me is creating that? Good or bad? What part of me is creating that? What part of me has manifested that? And for some of you, that might seem like a lot. You're like, oh, like that feels like a lot of responsibility to take. But on another level, it's extraordinarily liberating. It's extraordinarily freeing, because you realize I'm responsible. It's on me, it's on nobody else. I am responsible. And so if there is a pattern, if there is something that I don't like, I get to ask what part of me is creating that. And it's like, if we work with the law of correspondence and our external reality is mirroring what's going on internally, when you look in a mirror, let's see you have, I don't know, you have dirt on your face, right? And you look in the mirror. You don't go up to the mirror and try to wipe it off the mirror, right? You wipe it off of yourself, and then the mirror reflection changes. So too many people are trying to change the mirror reflection rather than changing internally what is happening and the part of them that is actually co-creating and doing that. So as you're going through your life or you're going through situations, you're going to be asking yourself, well, why am I creating this? What benefit is there to me creating this? What soul lesson am I currently going through to create this? Because some of you will be going through things because your soul wants to learn and upgrade. That's a little bit different from you having a limiting belief or a limiting program that is creating something. So you have to ask yourself, is this a soul lesson I'm going through right now? Something that your soul will learn, integrate, and then upgrade? Or is there a limiting belief, a wound, an issue that I need to shift, heal, and work on for me to change this externally? But it's always an internal process first. So everything that you are experiencing internally is reflected externally, right? And I'm talking about when my friends are going through something, when my husband is going through something, I'm asking myself, what part of me created that? And I've been on a big journey for shifting into this radical responsibility, because I think it's so important, so liberating, and it moves you out of the space of life is happening to me. Instead, life is happening for me and I get to choose my reality, right? So they're two very different mindsets and energies. And I think if we're looking around and we're seeing a lot of suffering and pain and people going through stuff, or people are not treating us nicely, we can't simultaneously say, I'm a creator, I manifest my reality, but this has got nothing to do with me. That's just happening to me. It's radical responsibilities. I'm not just creating this, I'm creating all of this, right? And I want to share with you some teachings that you might have heard of, you might be familiar with, that I learned that really helped me go deeper into this. So one of the modalities, techniques that goes very deep into this is Ho'oponopono. You might have heard of Ho'oponopono, you might be familiar with Ho'oponopono. I love Ho'oponopono, I've been doing it for years and years and years. And when I first discovered it, I think it was actually my mom who recommended me a book about it, and I began reading it, and I was like, it seems so simple. Like, you literally say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, over and over again and out loud. And I was like, it seems a bit too simple. So the story with Ho'oponopono is it comes from Hawaii, right? And it's based on the ancient healing techniques, modalities, huna, right? And it's just a small technique of all parts of their work and their incredible beliefs. And the thing about Ho'oponopono is the belief is what is happening externally is a result of me. So if I turn on the TV and I see pain and suffering, there's a part of me that is pain and suffering. Like, we're talking that level of radical responsibility, that you are literally creating this world. And if you are contributing to that or manifesting fear and stuff, it's going to show up in the world around you, right? And if we really go into the quantum science of that, we know it's true. We know quantum science, we know that's true. However, on a conscious level, it's very hard for us to wrap our head around the fact that we are literally co-creating the entire world around us. So there's a story about this doctor, Dr. Huey Len, a Hawaiian doctor. I may not be pronouncing that name right, but you can absolutely look him up, verify this story for yourself, go through. There's a great book about it as well, Zero Limits by Dr. Joe Vitale. So you can go through it and go into it yourself. But basically, he was a psychiatrist, a trained psychiatrist, and he was working in a criminal ward for in an asylum, basically, where they were really keeping like the worst of the worst. And lots of psychiatrists had quit, and he came in and he was going to be working with and treating all of the patients there. So what he did is he didn't go and meet a single one of these patients. What he would do is he would look at their file every single day, look at their picture, and just do Ho'oponopono. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, for hours on end, each of those. Eventually, so many of them rehabilitated that they had to shut down that entire criminal ward, because so many of them were rehabilitated, were healed, and went back into society. And it was all he did was Ho'oponopono. You can read about that story online. And what he did, he wasn't focused on, well, that's your issue. He was going, what part of me has created this issue in them? What part of me has contributed to what they've got within them, right? And so with Ho'oponopono, we're saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for creating this, right? So he's looking at each person, what they've done, and go, I'm sorry for creating this for you. Please forgive me. Please forgive me for creating this. Thank you. Thank you for this lesson. Thank you for this opportunity to grow. Thank you for this gift. I love you. Love you. And that's it. That's Ho'oponopono. And it was so simple. And I remember when I first learned about it, I was like, that's so simple. Like, how can it work? But whatever. And I was actually on a cruise when I was learning about it. And at the time of my life, I was undergoing, like, I didn't even know what it was, but I was getting severe pain all over my body. Like, it was so weird. It was like there's just this pain throughout my body all the time. And it'd been going on for a few weeks now. And I was like starting to see doctors to try and figure out what was going on. It was just random. And it was also debilitating. Like, when it came on, I just had to stop what I was doing and go lie in bed, like cancel my day. And like there were nights where I couldn't sleep because I was just in so much pain. It was very, very odd. And I remember I was on the cruise and I was like, well, let me go ahead and let me try Ho'oponopono. Like, you know, why not? And so I remember sitting outside on the balcony and I was like, okay. And I didn't even think about anything. I just said, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you. Said that probably about 4 or 5 minutes out loud. And I remember that night I had the worst pain. Like, I did not sleep. It was so bad. And all the pain that I felt with that weird aching that I had, it's like it peaked, right? It got so bad that night. I could barely sleep. And then it stopped and it never came back. And I was like, okay, maybe this Ho'oponopono works. So I said to my then boyfriend, now ex, I said to him, you know what, you should really give this Ho'oponopono a try. Like, there's something there. And he had grown up with a single mom, never knew his dad, never met him, had stepdads and all of that. And he began to say Ho'oponopono. One day of just saying Ho'oponopono. The next day, he received a call from his birth father, who he had never heard from, never known, asking to meet up with him. So this Ho'oponopono works, right? And it's actually recommended for you just to start saying it, right? Because it's like you're clearing yourself out first. So I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. You don't need to say it to anyone in particular, just yourself. 5 minutes a day out loud, you're driving, before you go to bed, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Just saying it. And where I like to use it is whenever, so I use Ho'oponopono a lot. So if I have a conflict or a disagreement with someone, the first thing that I begin to do is Ho'oponopono to them, right? Not like if I'm having an argument with someone, I'm not gonna stop and just, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, but like I'll go away. I mean, I don't really have arguments with people, but it's like, there's a disagreement, there's a tension, right? I will go away and I will sit and I will just do Ho'oponopono while thinking of them. And it's clearing the energy. I'm like, I'm creating this in you. Let me heal it, right? I've created this. But I will also do Ho'oponopono if my friends or my husband is going through something. I will look at their photos and Ho'oponopono. And specifically about the issue they're going into. So I will think about that, look at the picture and Ho'oponopono. Say, I'm sorry for creating this in you. Please forgive me. Thank you for this lesson. I love you. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you. And I'll just do it over and over again. And what it does is it's just clearing you. It's clearing the energy. So it's actually a clearing technique. So it's clearing the part of you that has created this. It's clearing the part of you that has manifested. And the best thing about it, it's so easy. You can just walk around, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you. There's no complicated techniques. There's no step 1, step 2, it's just you say the phrase over and over again. You can think about something specific if you want to work on something specific. You know, if you have a physical illness, you can focus on that, on someone's going through something. If you see an event happening in the world that you want to support healing, think about that event. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you. And you go into that process, right? And it's super easy, it's super simple, but it is super, super effective. And it works because you acknowledge radical responsibility. As within, so without. I am mirroring the reality. So I can't change reality, I can only change myself, and then reality changes. And once you acknowledge that, you can begin to clear the parts of yourself that are creating externally, and then begin to go, great, now what I want is on this vibration, so I need to raise my vibration to hold that standard, right? To become that. When I'm working with my spirit guides, and they say, all right, Athena, this is what's soul aligned for you. I've got a desire. I'm like, I want to create this. I want to manifest into this part of my life. So I'll give you an example, right? When I was a six-figure business owner, let's say I was doing like 10K months, right? I knew that one day I would be doing 50K months. I didn't know how, I didn't know when, I just knew that I would. And it was a desire. I was like, I want to create abundance. Like I'm here to have an abundant life, right? That was a goal of mine. I was called to it. I felt it was fully aligned for me and that it would give me the freedom to do certain things like film this, and be able to show up and give more and run events and all the other things that I'm doing. I knew that that was aligned. I was also being very guided on how to get there. So I would sit, channel my guides and go, how are we gonna get there? How are we gonna move there, right? They give me the action steps. They give me the clarity. But then I still need to align myself to that level, because even though I can do the things to get there, it still has to be energetically aligned, because who I am at 50K months is not who I am at 10K months. So even though I'm being guided and led, there has to still be some work that is being done internally, right? I still do manifestation work every day. And for me, that honestly just looks like listening to, so what I usually do is I will record myself over some music for about 10 minutes, just talking about the life that I'm living in first person, just this is my life, this is how I live, this is how I feel, whatever I'm wanting to manifest, right? And every day for 10 minutes, I will listen to that, tune into that, feel it, experience it, see it, and know that I'm choosing that reality, right? And that begins to shift your vibrational state and align you to that next level that you are calling in. Now, where some people can feel overwhelmed is they start to feel like it's all on me, I have to do everything, like I'm the one in charge, and it feels so exhausting for everything to be on me, to have this much responsibility. It's like, there's a balance. You can be both surrendered and responsible, right? Yes, you are responsible for the life that you are creating, and you also get to be surrendered. But if you're surrendered, it doesn't mean you just stop co-creating, right? I am surrendered to the guidance that I have received from the divine about what I am here to do, the life that I am here to live, and what I am here to help people with. I am in full surrender, full faith, full trust in that, and I'm allowing myself to be led. as part of my job as a human being living in this vibrational universe, it is my job to become vibrationally aligned with that, to do the manifestation work, to get there. It is not one or the other, it is actually both. When we are just focused on co-creating from our ego and manifesting things that we want, we miss the mark. We don't become soul aligned. We might manifest, but we don't feel good, right? And if we're just surrendered and we're just like, well, I'm just gonna be led, right? I'm not gonna really do any work on myself. I'm not gonna work vibration. I'm not gonna manifest. Things don't change. And we can be like, well, I know this is where I'm supposed to be, but it's not happening. So it's a combination, right? You can be surrendered and you can be responsible for the reality that you are living. And it's not one or the either. You are the creator of your reality as much as you are being led by a creator, by the divine. It is not one or the other. And this is where people get so confused. People get so confused here because they're like, am I creating my reality or am I at the will of the divine? Well, actually it's both. You are divine will embodied and there is a divine will that is guiding you, and you are also creating your reality. So it is both. And that is just, it is so, so, so important, and so important to remember. So my intention for you is to reflect on and say, well, how am I co-creating my reality at the moment? Am I really honestly being fully responsible for myself? Because I don't think it's beneficial, when we just look around our world and go, ooh, that person's suffering, let me just go pray for them, right? Instead of going, well, what part of me created that, right? So where am I consciously co-creating? What am I creating in my life? And can I honestly look at myself and go, what part of me is creating this? Let me do Ho'oponopono and help shift it, help work through it. Ho'oponopono is just one technique. I love it. I recommend it. But then I also do this with shadow work. If I have like a really big wound or issue that I see reflected in the world, I'm gonna go and heal it and do healing work on it. I look at the beliefs I've got and reprogram them and go, I keep having this situation happen. This is a belief behind it. And then I work on healing and reprogramming that belief. So Ho'oponopono is one method, right? And it's very effective. I highly recommend it. And give Ho'oponopono a go, just 5 minutes a day. Say those words over and over again. And secondly, also understand and know that there are soul contracts, events that you have chosen to be a part of, that you have chosen to go through because they will help your soul development. Those events are going to happen because you agreed to them. However, you can choose what you want to do after that event. You can choose to go into your soul path or you cannot. You can choose to go with your soulmate or not. You have the freedom to do that. And as you're co-creating and making the decisions that you want to, out of free will, you also get to go, and I'm surrendering to the divine will. I'm choosing to be led. I'm allowing myself to be guided. Spirit, when Spirit says, Athina, we want you to get on stage. We want you to speak in front of an audience. I go, great. What beliefs do I need to program in myself to become a speaker? How can I embody that? And I do the work. I don't just go, okay. We are still having this human experience and we need to be embodied in it. So you're working with divine as well as being a conscious co-creator. And it's so beautiful. And that's why I say co-creation, because we are co-creating with divine will, with our soul, and with this world here, right? What is reflected back to you, you are co-creating. You are co-creating with the divine. So life, this experience, you right now, is a co-creation. And that's so beautiful. Because guess what? If you don't like your current co-creation, you can co-create something different and have fun with it. And remember that you are a powerful co-creator. And it first comes, you can only become a powerful manifestor co-creator when you fully understand that you are creating everything. Because you can't do 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You can't manifest something but not other things. You're manifesting everything. When you are honest with yourself and come to that place of truth, then you realize, well, great, I get to change all of it now. I get to make the world a better place. I don't just have to focus on me. I can actually focus on manifesting world peace, a better world for us, and the things that I'm passionate about, right? It's like, that's what we can do with this co-creation, and that's why it's so beautiful. Let me know in the comments how this was for you, how this resonated with you. I'm so grateful to have had you here today for this episode, sending you so much love and blessings. Thank you.